So, hello and welcome to Up the Villa podcast. Today's episode, we're dedicating it to Marty Cafeteria, who sadly passed away. So, I'm going to say a few words on behalf of myself. So, tonight's podcast is in memory of Marty Cafeteria, who sadly lost his battle with cancer. Mike was a massive Villa fan and such a positive guy. Mike was so brave and courageous and always let his Twitter followers know how he was feeling. I had the pleasure of connecting with Mike through Twitter numerous times, always checking up on how he was doing. The fight within Mike was breathtaking, and I'd like to offer my condolences to his family. Mike was 39 years of age and leaves behind 2 young children. In Mike's memory, we are asking all Villa fans to tweet Team MC hashtag on the 39th minute of the game against West Ham. Although I personally never met Mike, the wonderful power of social media allowed me to connect with this great guy and leaves a hole in many Villa fans on Twitter. Rest in peace, Mike, whole tender in the sky. So we're going to bring in Justin for this episode as well. So how you doing, mate?
Yeah, how you doing, Luke? Yeah, just like to add my condolences as well to Mike's family. He always seemed like a really top bloke on Twitter. To go through what he's had to go through the last few months is horrendous. So just wanted to add to your kind words there with my own as well, and hope his family are doing okay and all the best to them at this really tough time.
Yeah, so we're going to put his logo that he created, his little hashtag as well. It's going to be the logo at the bottom of the screen as well. So, it's a tough one to move on from that, obviously. But Aston Villa beat Southampton yesterday, 1-0 away at St Mary's. So what did you make of the game yesterday?
Yeah, it's a great win. Just said to you off air then, it's almost more satisfying to win a game like that than it is to sort of smash teams 5 or 6, as nice as that is. But to get ahead in a game, a really tight game like that against a decent outfit like Southampton, who are going through a little bit of a lull like we are form-wise, it was always going to be a tough game. I mean, I think everybody knows our record against Southampton over the last few years has been pretty horrendous. So to get over the line in the manner we did, it's really, really great. Satisfying thing to watch, a couple of hairy moments. VAR at last, the marginal VAR decisions went for us this time, which is nice to see. And both decisions which the ref and the linesman gave on the day were shown to be right. So I think we can't really have much complaints, as tight as they are, and when they go against you, they're not nice. But it was just nice to have them go in our favour, and fantastic 3 points. Sets us up nicely for the next 2 home games this week.
Yeah, it's a different win to what we've probably been watching in the past, isn't it? Our last few wins have been, pretty comfortable at times. We've played some really great football, but yesterday, it was bodies on the line, heroic saves from Martinez, and the Barkley header. I think some pundits were saying it was just it was the ball from Jack and it was just a nodding, but I think he had so much to do, Barkley, with that header. He had to get that power and the accuracy on it. It was just such a good header, really. And
funnily enough, when I watched it again afterwards, and they showed it that you're watching it 2 or 3 times, if you actually watch it now again, Barkley actually holds his run so long because he sees Jack running onto it. And he obviously sees what he's going to try and do, whip a ball in. And he almost holds off too long because he really actually stretched that neck at the end. Mm-hmm. But to be able to divert it away from the keeper, fantastic quality. Really, really good goal.
It's such a good header. And, I feel like although Watkins didn't get a goal, I do think he played well yesterday, Watkins.
Definitely.
He's slightly a bit unlucky at times where it just doesn't quite just sit right for him. But, he's always there. He's tenacious and he had a real good game. So, let's just briefly touch on signing of the summer. Definitely, Martinez. What did you make of him last night?
He's fabulous, isn't he? I mean, was it 10 clean sheets now? We've made some as we all know, some really good signings in the summer, and probably all of them come off to one point or another. I mean, Cash has been outstanding. All the rest that we brought in have been brilliant. But head and shoulders, I think at the moment, you've got to say, is the keeper. Spine of the team. They always say, get your spine right, and you can't really go far wrong. And whilst we've had a few decent keepers over the last few years, we've had nothing. I think I did at the time sort of not question the signing of Martinez because I think we all know how great at the end of the season he had with Arsenal. But with sort of the keeper coming back, Heaton nearly coming back to full fitness. I think we all sort of thought, oh right, okay, so he doesn't really, not that he doesn't trust Heaton, but it was like he's really going above and beyond now, signing a £20 million goalkeeper. But I think he's worth every single penny of that money. I don't think, for me, he's probably been the signing of the season in the whole of the Premier League.
That's what
I can't think of anybody in any team that's had such a big impact as he has. You know, some of his saves, his dominance of the area is something we haven't seen for a very, very long time. And it's something really that made me, the last 20 minutes, I know a lot of people sort of get a bit twitchy yesterday, but I was really calm. I mean, I know we had a few touch and go moments, and that's because of Martinez. He brings so much confidence to that back line. You know, even when you think, you know, that header was, I mean, I took a little nick off Watkins, I think, and took the reaction save. And then when you've got the defenders that we've got at the moment, with 4 or 5 of them just throwing themselves in the way of it breeds confidence for the whole back forward, isn't it? You've got a goalkeeper that's almost unbeatable. You know, he's a real fluke. The other night putting 3 past him. I don't think that's going to happen very often. But yeah, absolutely phenomenal signing. And he seems a really top bloke as well. So that just tops off everything.
Yeah, it does. And I remember last season, especially on social media, you was hearing, you know, what does Terry do? He's the defensive coach and we're all over the show. But this season, our defense is absolutely phenomenal. You know, it's so good as a team. Do you know what I mean? It's not just the 4 defenders and the keeper. It's the midfielders. You know, I think it was one of the saves he made. You've got, and I think it's a shot that's going around Twitter at the minute. There's like about 7 players all along the 6-yard box, and they're all there as a team fighting, and it's just so good to see. So briefly moving on to West Ham then, at home on Wednesday. What's your vibe?
Confident. I'm always confident anyway. I think I always predict we're going to win, even if I think we're not. I am, really confident. I mean, I think going back to the last 2 games leading up to this, we've seen 2 totally different Villa sides. We saw us absolutely dominant against Burnley and get nothing out of the game, and we saw us probably not as good against Southampton yet win the game. So, you know, going into West Ham, I would like to think we're going to play probably a bit better than we did against Southampton. But I think we've got enough to beat them. You know, we should have beat them at their place, shouldn't we? And that was another game that got away from us somehow. We absolutely dominated them, and they nicked a couple of daft goals and won the game. And I've just finished watching their game against Liverpool. And while they knocked the ball around quite nice, and they've got some decent players, Soucek in the midfield's decent. 1 or 2 of the others look okay. Ben Rama looks like he's finally getting up to pace now in the Premier League, so we've got to be a bit wary of him. So yeah, we've got to be careful, but that's the same as every single Premier League game, isn't it? You have to be on your mark. You have to make sure you don't make any silly mistakes. And I think, like we just said, the back 5 are absolutely on top of the game. With Douglas Luiz playing really well. McGinn's a little bit of a worry at the moment, and it's not a massive worry, but he doesn't seem to be up to he's had a bit of a dip in form. Yeah. But we have got Sanson on the bench, haven't we? So that's another option we can use if we need him. Maybe it might be worth, you know, maybe leaving one of the lads out. You know, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because when you are winning games, you don't want to leave people out, but there comes a point when you maybe have to. What's the point in having the squad if you're not going to use them? It might be worth chucking Sanson in maybe for a game and just saying to John McGinn, just have a rest for a game. You know, it's not dropping them, is it? It's resting them. It's being sensible. It's being pragmatic. I'm not sure he'll do that, but it's another option, isn't it, to do it? But yeah, I'm confident. I think, you know, I'd like to think we can win the game. I think we will win the game. And I think we'll carry on with our good run, which takes us into a tough game against Arsenal at the weekend.
Brilliant. Up the Villa?
Up the Villa.
3, 2, 1. So back, Captain K on another winning podcast. He only comes on when we win. That's right. Great timing. But you okay?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. So we beat Southampton away, a place where we don't really do that well. So what did you make of the performance?
I thought the performance was a typical kind of away performance, you know, soaking up the pressure, being disciplined in defence, and then just being more clinical in attack. I know that we didn't have as much possession, but I think we forget we were the away side. I know there's no fans and stuff, but we were the away team, and you know, they play high pressing football, so they were always going to have a lot of the ball being the home side as well. But I think we did really well in soaking up the pressure. We were really organised. I think the mistakes from the Burnley game, we sort of rectified that. We did a mixture of man-for-man marking and zonal. I think Mings had an incredible game, as did all the defence, really. Emi Martinez, what a keeper he is, right? I mean, I actually think he had a bit of a shaky start to the game. A bit of his distribution was a bit off, and then he grew into it. But generally, we done really well. I know they had all these shots, but we were a lot more clinical. And I think we had a lot more intent. We did ride our luck a little bit, though. But, that's what we've got, that quality there now. I think we've gone from being an okay side with the odd good game to being a good side now, consistently. Yeah. We sometimes have the odd bad game, but we're a good team.
Yeah, I think we're in a real good place, and hopefully we can just kick on now and get on a bit of a roll and start churning out a few wins, get a bit of momentum, and then we can really start thinking about where we're going to finish this season. So I'm with you. Everything you said, you're always pretty much spot on. So hopefully we're going to have you on a winning podcast against West Ham. How do you see that game going?
Yeah. West Ham, well, I mean, they've just come off the back of a 3-1 loss to Liverpool, so that's knocked their confidence a little bit, which is great for us. We're at home. Good to be back at Villa Park, although it's without the fans, but I think we've found our form at home now. And I think that we just need to play our game. I think maybe stick with the same starting 11. Perhaps if I was going to suggest one change, I'd probably say either McGinn or Louise to rest and bring in Marvelous. I think fatigue setting in now. So they've dipped a little bit in form, those two. So I think maybe just bring in Nakamba. He done really well when against Newcastle when he did the full 90 much. I think he'll fit quite well. And take it from there. Kick on. I think it should be a good game. Get our revenge back for the previous game.
I mean, we did play very well against them at their place, so I do think we're due to turn them over. To be fair, I think we did have a lot of the ball. We were the better team. I feel like we're going to do it. I think we'll beat West Ham, and then sets up a nice game against Arsenal as well. So thanks for coming on, mate.
Yeah. Thank you. Up the Villa. Speak to you soon.
So I'm delighted to say last on, we've got Liam tonight. You okay, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. How you doing?
Cool. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. So we've touched on Southampton quite a lot in this episode now. So we'll move on to sort of like West Ham as well. But my first question I'm going to ask you now is Aston Villa virtually at the halfway stage of the season. We've virtually got the same amount of points that we finished the season on at the halfway stage. In your opinion now, where are we going to go now from here?
Oh, yeah, you put me on the spot there, haven't you? I keep kind of putting it off as in, after the next games, we'll see where we are. After the next game, we'll see where we are. But yeah, I suppose it's about, the time now as you get to the second half of the season, you've got to start realistically thinking, what looks possible for us. I think in the past we've had those sorts of runs. Well, this is a bit of a different kind of season before Christmas, where like under Martin O'Neill, when we were going for the Champions League spots, compete with Arsenal, where we sort of faltered round about that point. Now, 6 points out of the last 3 games is a good return, and there's 2 more winnable games coming up.
Yeah,
I think realistically, top 8 is very achievable. But, I'm always on the cautious side. I think I'm a little bit conservative. But I think top 8 is very achievable. I think in the past, it's kind of depended on other teams doing badly, like Arsenal faltering or teams like that when we were competing for those European spots under O'Neill. I think now it's more about us in a way because we've got real quality. Do worry a little bit sometimes about the squad depth. But Wesley's hopefully coming back, the striking department, which will put us in a better position. The top 8 realistically, but, without any injuries to our key players, we can push for Europa League spot, I think. So there's potentially the ceiling's a bit higher than that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, the way I look at it, I kind of think now we're in that situation where we are sniffing around ninth, eighth. We're in that zone at the minute, aren't we? I'd just love us to just overachieve that little bit more. Let's just try and push on. I mean, the slight worry for me regarding that is that I feel like Chelsea are probably going to get better, and Arsenal seem to be looking half decent again. So they're around where we are at the minute, and then you've got sort of like West Ham, which are above us. I do see them dropping down. So I think it's going to be a fight around that position. But like you say, if we can finish around 7th, 8th, what a season that would be.
It'd be phenomenal. I think, that would be... You think where we were at the start of the season, we had a good transfer window. So I think people had expectations of a better season, but nobody saw this kind of season coming. I mean, it's a crazy season for a number of reasons across the league, but the work that they did, during that first shutdown, and they came back and they improved so much. Then they brought in those players, and the work that they've obviously done again in the short period of time, they just keep improving. So I do think obviously Chelsea and teams like that, that it's going to be a huge challenge going up against them, competing for those sorts of places. But I think we've got to believe in the quality that we have now. I mean, obviously the Chelsea squad is ridiculous, and our squad is not quite at that level, of course.
No.
But we've got real quality. In Grealish, we've got one of the best, if not the best, attacking player in the Premier League. With what's complementing him now, maybe we can push on that a little bit further. But I'd be delighted with the top half and top 8 particularly.
Yeah, me too. It'd just be nice when we do eventually get to go back in the grounds to just, for that first game, sit in your chair, knowing that we're literally like a real top team, and we're going to be watching exciting football. Because let's be honest, last time we were in Villa Park sitting down to watch games of football, it weren't pretty, was it?
No.
So what a stark contrast it is going to be. So moving on to West Ham then, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I think it was a funny sort of game, Southampton last night. It was like a different kind of performance to be proud of, but it shows that we've got all these different ways to win games. So I think back at home, I think they'll be tough to beat. I think David Moyes is doing a terrific job with them. There's a lot of threat there. I think we'll probably be a bit more expansive though, back at home, so a bit more on the front foot, which is good. And at the moment, particularly the teams like West Ham, your Southamptons and stuff like that, I think we're going into all of those games thinking that we can win. We're going into home games against, bigger teams thinking that we can win and wondering what we get from the away games too. So, I think without complacency, if they're really on it, the focus, the concentration's there, defensive performance like that gives us the platform, and we'll score goals against anyone. I think hopefully Ollie Watkins gets back on the score sheet again, make it 3 and 4. And I can see us getting all 3 points, and then it starts to get very exciting going into Arsenal. Every game's exciting. It's a brilliant season.
It does. I mean, we did have a guy in the comments for the last video saying we're a couple of points to secure safety. No, mate, don't look down no more. Just do not look down. We're looking up now, mate.
Well, we've gone past the point, haven't we, of looking below us now. I mean,
I don't think I've looked down all season since the start.
No, I mean, it's certainly not since like the Liverpool game. Anyway, it's been
last season. I was just scaring in the bottom half, adding up goal difference, adding up where I can get a point here or there. So just so
more wins this season already than last year, which is madness, isn't it?
It's so nice to just sit back and chill and watch them. So it's been great chatting to you, mate. Thank you.
You too, mate.
Up the Villa.